Welcome to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, a weekly horror movie review podcast. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor. Subscribe to get new episodes every Wednesday. We dive into trivia, drink a little whiskey, and of course, give our no BS opinions.
Join our Discord server or message us on social media to talk all things scary.
And if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon.
You can find all these links on our website, twochicksandahorrorflick.com. Thanks for listening.
Now let's get scared. Hey everybody, great to have you back. So excited. We are going to be talking about the 2024 film Heretic. Saw it in the theaters, we both did, and I'm excited to talk about it. But before we do, Tawny, what are you drinking?
We've got water, but that's it. Aside, obviously, from my Magic Mind earlier today.
Oh, yeah. Well, what I am drinking is also a big jug of water. But since you talked about Magic Mind, and I also had my Magic Mind first thing this morning and love it, I wanted to, because I know we often talk about Magic Mind giving us focus and energy. And it does. And it's phenomenal. But very particularly, a couple weeks ago, I was feeling a lot of anxiety, massive amounts of anxiety. It was making my stomach hurt so much. So I was having a lot of trouble sleeping. My mind was spinning. I'm someone who stews. So at this period of time, it was extra bad. And I was I couldn't even sleep. And so I woke up in the morning, and I know you and I know this would resonate with you because we've talked about it before, where when we are feeling anxiety, we tend to stay away from our coffee or our energy drinks that have any kind of caffeine in them, because it just makes the anxiety way worse, like off the charts. I went into the fridge and I grabbed my little bottle of Magic Mind and I went, do I want to take this? Because I was feeling so anxious. And then I was like, wait a second. They say that it helps to calm you. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, and drank it and wanted to say, no pun intended, I really think this is truly magical how it is able to give you energy and focus. But I also felt for the first time the first time after losing so much sleep, calm, relaxed, and it didn't heighten my anxiety at all.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And I was curious, so I looked into why or how or what are those ingredients that they use in order to bring down your stress or make you feel calm and peaceful. And it has ashwagandha, L-theanine, L-theanine, turmeric, vitamin C, and D3. So I'm just really happy I could cry. It's really awesome to take something that makes you feel calm and peaceful, but also energetic and focused. It's just really, really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I usually only have one in the morning, but on Thanksgiving, I knew it was going to be a kind of tiring day. So I had like my morning caffeine drink thing that I have. And then I wanted to wait and take it in the afternoon before we headed over to Jade's family for, to actually eat and stuff. And I'm so glad I did. But that was the other thing that I was concerned about, because if I have too much caffeine, it does make me anxious, and it was totally fine. And I felt great, was able to go to sleep on time, everything. So, yeah.
All right, fellow horror friends, you know the drill. If you also want to experience ultimate bliss, want to get some Magic Mind for yourself, go to www.magicmind.com/chicks20, CHICKS 20, and use the code CHICKS20, and you can get up to 48% off your first subscription for the next 10 days or 20% off a one-time purchase.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's 48% off. So you're almost getting 50 if you do a subscription order.
And that's the only way you want it, really. I mean, get it however you want it, but I'm saying
consistently is how you want it.
I just got the text message. Hey, your Magic Mind's about to ship. And that's a joyous day when I get that text message.
Me too. Very excited about it.
Awesome. All right, Tawny, tell me what you've been up to. It's been a couple weeks. I want to know what's going on. What have you been watching?
Yeah.
Thinking, doing. What's up?
Well, Actually, like somehow a lot, even though I've been really busy, I've been squeezing some shit in. So I've been continuing to go to those like aerial dance classes. I went to my
Ooh.
first hoop class, like the Lyra, I think is what is they call it, yesterday. And that was fucking hard, way less intuitive than the silks for me so far. It's only one class, so I'll try to go to another one just to see. But damn, my body hurts. Like, it is a totally different
That's awesome
situation. But anyway, it was still fun. I really enjoyed it.
May I ask really quick? So I know the silks, like they're coming down from the ceiling and you wrap yourself up and do really cool things. That's so cool. The other one is just there's a hoop, like a hula hoop hanging in the air and you do things on that.
Right. Yeah.
Is that okay? I just wanted to vision it.
And it is metal. It's like a metal hoop. So that's why it like hurts.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The back of my knee, dude, is so swollen. It's like twice the size of the other knee because I must have just done more on one knee.
Yeah.
But like I was showing Jade today. I was like, Jesus, look at this thing. Like it's like bruised and swollen and looks scary, but it is still fun and it's still worth it. And I think it's one of those things that you kind of get used to. Mm-hmm. And, I was doing a lot of the same thing over and over again because it was my first class. So I was just learning. And so it'll get better, but I'm really enjoying that. I bought like a 12-month subscription or membership to this place so that I can continue to go. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. I love it because you've been wanting to do this and you did it and you love it and you're going to go for a year. I love it.
Yeah, totally. So that's been awesome. Work's been really, really busy, so it's been kind of hard to do stuff. But last weekend, I was like determined to do like a self-care weekend. So I ended up doing a lot. I ended up watching a couple of things, and that was nice. So I watched Twisters and Your Monster. And Your Monster is like a horror comedy kind of indie. We saw a trailer for it when we were watching one of the other horror movies over the summer, and it's like that there's like a monster in this woman's closet that she ends up like seeing, and they kind of have a little bit of a romance. It's kind of like a horror comedy romance, and it was fun. I did like it. And then Twisters was okay. It was all right.
New one or
the new one. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. I remember the old one. I loved it when that came out and I was younger. So we watched the old one and the new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was all right. The Wild Robot we saw in theaters, and
is this the animated one?
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My little one read it in school. And is obsessed with it, and that she was like, "Mom, I want to go to Barnes and Noble to buy a book." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited." And that's the one she got.
Oh, cool. Okay. It was really great. It was very cute. I definitely cried.
Oh,
you should go see it. It was good.
I'm surprised. What prompted you to say, I'm going to go see an animated film in the movie theater?
I know. Well, Paige and Trevor took their daughter, and it was her first movie experience. And so they invited us to go, and we went with them. So it was like their whole family went, and we sat behind them and got to watch her watch a movie, basically.
That's cool.
But it was fun. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
It was good. Okay. And then on Thanksgiving, I watched finally with Jade's mom, The Little Things, which you had told me about, I think, months and months ago at this point. But that was really good. That was definitely like true crime or true detective vibes,
Oh, yes. Okay. At first, I'm like looking at you like,
you're like, what is this movie?
This? Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Is that ringing a bell now?
Yes.
Denzel.
Yes.
Fuck, I forgot that other guy's name, but also, I
was
forgot.
it Benicio del Toro, or I'm thinking of?
No,
I was thinking that's the serpent, I think. Rafi Malik.
Yes.
Was that, or yes. Okay.
Yeah. Rami Malek.
Name, right? Rami Malek. Okay.
I think it's Rami Malek.
I was very close.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were. It put it in my head, and I could be wrong too. I don't know. But
that was the key. No, you are correct.
Oh, and then the third one finally popped in my head. Jared Leto. It's got Jared Leto.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. It's all rushed back to me. That was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was a very engrossing watch. And I feel like I don't
yeah.
usually love those types of movie, like the crime thriller drama, but it was really good. Finally, the last couple things I'll just mention is we watched Logan Lucky, which is like a heist. It's like a hillbilly heist movie on Netflix right now, and it was good. It was a fun movie. I recommend that one too if you're looking for kind of like a fun, low stakes, movie, just like a little popcorn flick. Last thing I'll say, and I just watched this last night, and so I'm really dealing with. I'm still like kind of reeling from it. I saw The TV Glow, which I've seen some people talk about this year because it came out this year, and it's I like a horror
Yes.
esque movie, and man, there was something about this. I don't know if I liked it, and I don't even know if I felt like it was a good movie. It clearly was not for me. That I was not the like target audience, but something about it like really got under my skin. Like, and not in the normal way of like, us watching horror movies, but I will say that I had to watch a clip of like The Good Place before I went to bed, which does not happen to me very often, from watching so many scary movies with me. I don't often feel that bad about something that I have to go and like cleanse my palate. And I'm probably overselling it because it's a really bizarre movie. It's a very bizarre and surreal, very heady experience, but something about it just made me feel really bad and sad, and it was like kind of depressy. I don't know. It was an interesting watch. So if anybody out there has watched it and wants to talk about it, I read a little bit of people's interpretations on it yesterday. But man, it was I don't know.
It's a hard read because at first I thought you did not like it, but now you've made it sound very intriguing. like I want to watch it. I'm a little nervous to watch it, but
you totally could. I feel like I don't know how I feel about it because it did have an effect on me, and I feel like that is really interesting. Like it did a really good job of making me feel a certain way. But at the end of the movie, I was like, what? But then like reading people's reads on it, I'm like, oh, this is not for me. And I can't identify with the themes that are under this. But I think that there are a few other like tangential themes that I did connect with and I was telling Jade about it, and he was like, it sounds like it's like one of those movies it's like a little bit too close to reality. Like instead of escaping in the movie, you're like digging further into reality. And he was like, that's what it feels like to watch Black Mirror episodes sometimes for me. And I was like, you're spot on. That's exactly what it was, is that it was like a little too real in some very specific weird ways. And I don't know, if you want to watch it, you should. And then we could I don't know if it's like an episode worthy watch, but I'd be curious to know your thoughts. And
okay,
I want to tell you what was affecting about it, but I don't want to ruin it for you if you feel like you want to watch it. So
okay,
anyway.
I will watch it so that we could talk. That was something I almost started because I saw it but I didn't. So yeah, I will watch that.
Okay, let me know. Anyway, sorry, that was a lot, but that was it.
No, that was good. That was good stuff.
What about you? Sorry, I don't ask back because I'm like, no, it's your turn. It's just a given.
I wait. And I just wait. You had said, I was like, you had said something that sparked something in me. So it's only been 3 days, but I started working out. My daughter's girlfriend is studying to be a nutritionist and a personal trainer. And so she had built out a workout program for me to do, and it kicks my ass.
Okay.
The day I did the first legs workout, And then I literally went to her and said, is there anything I can do to make it feel like I wasn't in a car accident? But the good thing about it was every single muscle was worked. Like I had never, because when I told you I was doing that bar workout, and that's a really fun workout, but I realized it might not have been doing much because I'd only have like maybe one part of my leg that hurt. This was amazing. So I've been doing that, well, just like 3 days. And what's also really good is she'll check in with me, and I don't want to be a little punk ass and say, oh, I didn't do it.
Right.
So I'll do it. That's super helpful. But I've been doing that, and that it does make me feel stronger. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's
especially
awesome.
because of how hard it worked me. I was like, I have not been doing anything when I've been working out.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit.
I think I get out of breath and sweat a little bit, but nothing like this. So
yeah,
that was very cool. But as far as all of the stuff that I have watched, so I watched this movie called The Fundamentals of Caring. It was so heartwarming. It has Paul Rudd. I think that is... I really love that guy. And it all came from, I had a dream that he was our friend and we were hanging out together.
Okay.
So then Steve was like, well, then let's watch a movie with him. And that popped up. It was really beautiful. He is a caregiver to this boy who's in a wheelchair, and he takes him on this adventure, but he also is going through his own stuff. It was really, really touching and beautiful. So if you want something like that, I recommend The Fundamentals of Caring. Something else, I watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So the reason I'm saying this in such an exciting way is I swear I've seen this before, but I may have just thought I've seen it because it's so much in our consciousness, in our psyche. It's everywhere. I have a shirt with the Horror Rocky Picture Show, and I assumed that I'd seen it and liked it, but I really didn't remember anything about this movie except some of the visuals of the people. I loved it. When it first started, I was like, this is zany, to use a Tawny term. This is zany. And I wasn't sure, but there was something alluring about it that just, I don't know, kept me watching. And then, oh my gosh, hold on. What's his name?
Tim Curry?
Tim Curry, thank you.
Yeah.
When Tim Curry came out, I was like in love. This character is so fierce, so gorgeous, so strong and funny, and like just everything about this character I fucking loved. I absolutely loved it. And then I was there for the ride. I was laughing, I was enjoying it. And then I started to really think, holy crap, like it seems like these actors must have been exhausted. Because there's like this whole sequence where a lot of it is this big, long portion of whatever's happening, whether it's the ending. I won't give anything away. Don't worry if you haven't seen it at this point. But the ending with the pool, or the zaniness when Rocky Horror is created, whatever it is, it's like long takes. And they're like standing there wet, dancing wet, doing all of this stuff. And I was like, wow, this is like incredible level of enthusiasm and effort that these people are putting into this movie.
Yeah.
So anyways, I had a blast.
Fun
With this movie. Yeah. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've seen clips like you're saying. It's like one of those movies where it's like, I feel like I have seen it.
Yeah.
And I've definitely seen parts of it, but I don't think I've actually sat down and watched the whole thing start to finish. But I don't know that I'm gonna, because it's a musical.
Yeah. Yeah. When it started, I was like, oh, I don't know. People love this, but I don't know. But when Tim Curry came out, I was like, I just want to see everything that this character has to give me.
Yeah.
I want to see this character's entire journey.
Yeah.
I just loved it.
I will say that the clips I've seen of him like doing his thing, I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I would like it if he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this character was in it, but I don't know. I think Tim Curry was just absolute perfection in this.
Yeah, like if somebody else had played that character, it might not have landed as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I see why people dress up, and I get into it and have fun. And Christine, who's my friend and coworker that we had on our It Follows episode, she goes very often to the Rocky Horror Picture Show where they have the whole thing and the dress up and stuff like that.
Yeah, fun.
Very fun. Okay, anyway, sorry. That was my tangent because the other couple of things aren't a lot. I watched a couple of documentary type films that I just highly recommend. I just want to mention, if you are into that sort of thing, The Lost Children, which are about this Colombian plane that crashes, and only these three or four children, do I have it? 4 children lived 40 days in the Amazon jungle on their own. And they had like the soldiers and the indigenous people who were always at odds with each other come together to try to find these children. It was incredible.
Wow.
And also very touching, because you see like these people that were fighting all the time that were coming together. And then, of course, also the story of the children. It is incredible. They were alone in the Amazon jungle for 40 days. So
Scary.
I highly recommend it. It was really, really good. I also was watching that Alien Investigation. So every once in a while, it's this Alien Investigation series. And I'm like, are they going to give us the same old thing? Are they going to give us something new? He had some newish things. So it was curious, and it got me on an alien kick. So I started, and you guys might laugh at me, it's called Resident Alien. Okay. Resident Alien. I don't know. I watched it on one of the streaming services, and I just want to tell you the guy that's in it. His name is Alan Tudyk.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's the guy from Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I just love it. Dude, I stayed up till 2 a.m. cranking through these episodes. Different people wafted in and out of my life. Steve saw some of it and left. My older daughter,
Okay.
My younger daughter. It's just fun. You just want some fun, and really cute, and he's a lovable character. Resident Alien is awesome. And the last thing I wanted to say was, I watched Freaks with Emile Hirsch. This was something I just saw. There was it got my interest because it was like a little girl. Her father has like locked her away in this house, and he says it's for her own good. And I was like, ooh, this is like going to be true crimey. Ooh, it's going to be creepy. It was not true crime. It was more. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but it was very interesting. It was pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. There you go.
Was it a movie or a show?
It was a movie.
Okay.
Called Freaks.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. Like I don't want to give anything away because it took a while to figure. Not a while. Sorry, it was a pretty quick movie, but you don't know what's going on, and so I don't want to give away what's going on.
Okay.
I also watched The Photographer of Mauthausen. That's a concentration camp, but this was really curious because it was from these Spanish. It was a group of Spanish people that were soldiers, or maybe because of the war they were displaced and they were brought in. And this particular man, he was the resident photographer for this particular concentration camp, but he started to really question everything. And so he started to steal negatives. And he had this true story, whole operation where people were hiding negatives everywhere. And he was hiding all these negatives. So then when the war was coming to an end, they were like, burn all the pictures, burn all the stuff. And so everything was destroyed except his negatives that were used in the Nuremberg trials.
Right. Okay.
Was. I'm getting like cold chills. I'm getting so excited.
Give me cold chills
Just
too.
like it was so good, and I didn't even know this story. Incredible.
Wow, crazy.
Okay, I think that's it. I feel like you were talking about something and it reminded me of something that, one last thing. Sorry, guys. Here it is. And then I'm going to be quiet. The new JonBenet Ramsey
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've heard about this case our entire lives, if you're Tawny and I and a lot of us. And so again, I was like, is it there going to be anything new? But remember that other one I just recently watched? It wasn't the Menendez brothers, but there was another one where I was like, oh, the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that there was actually something new. So we gave it a go. And I will say there was stuff that I think my remembering of what happened was when I was a teen. And so it was only bits and pieces. It wasn't like I was glued to the TV.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff that I remember that I thought about that case was what was fed through the news. And that wasn't all accurate. So It was very interesting to hear the case again from beginning to where it is now, with all the different, like the myths that were dispelled and the lies and kind of just the facts. And it was a good one. It was well done.
Okay, good to know. Because we did see that, and Jade did make a comment like, dude, how many of these do we need? Like,
yeah,
this is starting to feel exploitative. And but I do feel like John Bonet, that case specifically is one that I'm interested in because it was in Colorado and it just happened when I was a kid. And so I remember seeing things on TV about it and hearing about it. It's like such a fundamental part of my childhood in some ways, you know? So I'm like, I'm really curious to watch it and see. So it's good to know that there was at least some kind of new stuff. But I think I have watched a documentary about it somewhat recently, so I don't know if it would be anything new in addition to that too.
I wonder, because I did see a recent one too, maybe a few years ago, that was the new JonBenet Ramsey, but this definitely brought up stuff that I didn't realize. And some of the stuff when it first started, I was like, well, we all know that either that the dad or the brother did it, right? And then seeing how that story came about and seeing it in the light, you're like, well, that's absurd. That absolutely wouldn't be the thing. So I don't know. I felt like really surprised by some of the stuff. I'd like to know your thoughts, but that's it. That is truly all I have, which was enough. All right. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Thanks everyone for letting me share. We are talking about Heretic from 2024. We saw it in the movie theater. The directors are Scott Beck and Bryan Woods. They are a team. They've done other movies together that we love as a team always. They created the story for and co-wrote the post-apocalyptic horror film A Quiet Place. They also wrote this movie that we're watching. They wrote and directed the supernatural thriller Nightlight. I haven't seen that. They also wrote and directed Haunt.
Okay.
Which I really like.
Nice.
And the science fiction thriller 65. I don't think I've seen that.
We watched that.
We did, didn't we?
People hated it, but we didn't hate it. I think it's got Adam Driver.
Oh, yes. I did. I did not hate that. That's right. Okay. Good stuff, Scott Beck and Bryan Woods. Let me give you your cast. I have to say, I'm just going to say right off the bat, the amazing Hugh Grant, in my opinion. Wow. As Mr. Reed. Also, these two, man. Sophie Thatcher as Sister Barnes and Chloe East as Sister Paxton. And then Topher Grace was Elder Kennedy. I popped that in there because I was like, he looks so familiar. That's why. Okay, I know who that is.
Quick cameo. Not in it for very long.
No. The stats. So I found a budget. It wasn't like right up in front. I found it embedded in some other story, but the budget, $10 million. The box office, $34.7 million. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 91%. IMDb, 7.2 out of 10. Letterboxd, 3.4 out of 5.
Okay.
All right. And this little summary that I most definitely snagged from someone else. 2 young missionaries become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of the diabolical Mr. Reed. Trapped in his home, they must turn to their faith if they want to make it out alive. That's kind of. But turn back now because we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie. Yay, I didn't forget to say that. Okay, Tawny. So, what did you think? How did you feel about this movie?
I think I don't know, because when I first left the movie, I was like, I really liked that. That was really good. But the further away I get from it, and the more like Jade and I talked about it afterwards in the next few days, the more I didn't like it. And so I'm not quite sure. That's kind of where I've left it. I feel like it had a lot of great ideas. Hugh Grant was obviously amazing, but I feel like it was almost like 3 different movies smushed together into one that could have been better had they all been separate movies, or they had chosen to cut some stuff or go in on some other things more. I don't know. I feel like it just wasn't. It was like a good viewing experience. The process of watching it, I feel like it was really tense. It was like a fun watch from that perspective, but it was losing me like halfway through and on, kind of. I don't know. So I'm sure I'll refine my thoughts as we talk about it, and I'm excited to hear any kind of trivia or anything that you have. But how did you feel?
I think we are on the same page. I liked it. I did like it. There were periods, though, and I think you explained that well, where, because I was trying to figure out what it was that didn't make me love it. And there were definitely periods where I was like, I could feel it. I could feel like, when are we gonna move forward? I don't know what it is. I'm hoping to refine my thoughts too as we move through it, because I think it started off fucking great. Like I was like, oh yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there was this, in the writing world, everyone always refers to as the murky middle. So, you're trying to tell this story and piece things together from beginning to end, but it's getting kind of murky. And then you have the end. And I have things about the end that I felt about it. And yeah, so I didn't dislike it. I liked it. I want to see it again. When it streams, I'll watch it again because I'm curious. I'd like to see. But man, it started off strong. And those actors were fucking great, I thought.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. The tension was amazing all the way through to, I feel like the beginning and all the way through to the point where they like open the door. Like I feel like all of that was so good and so well played. And I was so nervous for them. And specifically the part where he starts talking about religion and the iterations of it, like each religion being an iteration of, that was the moment where I was like, Felicia would love this.
Yes.
Like, yes. While we were watching it in the theater. So I am excited to hear about your research because this is, I don't know, one of those that I feel like is right up your alley from that standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you. All of it until they started to go down into the dungeon. And then
it was a little bit of a roller coaster. They kind of like, they would like lose me and then they'd get me back on board and then they'd lose me again and then I'd be back on board. And so it was hard. I don't know. I did a lot of bouncing around.
Yeah.
Throughout the
That's a great way to explain it too. I felt the same way.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. Okay. Well, let's dive in. So I know my first note, which was, and something that I can say was fantastic, is Steve and I went and watched this, and then we went to dinner after, and we spent 2 hours at dinner talking about this movie. He rated it a 4.2. He absolutely loved it.
Wow.
And we had really great conversations back and forth after. So that's great.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah. And us too. We had a good conversation with it. We saw it with Paige and Trevor. And so we stood there at the theater and talking to them about it for a little while. And so we had great conversations then. And then Jade and I continued to talk about it for the next, couple days. And so I feel like it's a good movie from that perspective, is that it's like thought-provoking and it can encourage conversation around like what its message was or just anything about the themes of the movie, which was good.
Yeah, I can say, okay, how about I start off with this that I really liked. I don't feel that I really liked how it didn't make a mockery of religion, but it also didn't go the route of that movie we saw I'm forgetting the name, where it was
The Deliverance.
The Deliverance, like,
Yeah.
Alleluia, God is real. Right.
Yeah.
There was a nice fine line. When I first saw that there were two Mormon girls, I actually was nervous that they were going to be a caricature of Mormons. Like, I was hoping they weren't going to make fun of Mormons.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I think these two girls were absolutely lovely. And they had their faith and what they believed, and they were really nice girls. You really liked them. And when the people were making fun of them, you really felt bad, for them, like when they're making fun of their special underwear and pulled their dress down and such. I thought they did a really good job of that. And I wanted to say that Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East were both raised Mormon. So they were able to give really valuable insight into shooting the movie. They're both no longer Mormons, but they were raised Mormon. And then, of course, the directors, what? I'm sorry. I don't know why. Maybe I do need to take my magic mind later in the day. No, I'm just kidding. That they consulted. That's what I was trying to say. The Mormon Church also, to make sure that they made them real people, not just like these ideas of what Mormon people are like. So I really liked that.
Yeah, that's really nice. And they do feel like real characters or real people,
Yeah. And I really liked how the movie, because you want the questions to be answered, but they're not going to be answered. And so I like how it brings you in where you feel strong with what you believe, whatever you believe. You're going into the movie, you believe what you believe. Then maybe it starts to make you question in either way. And then you start to go, oh my gosh, I'm really questioning everything. And then at the end, though, it makes you wonder, oh, wait, no, maybe not. Maybe I'm right. It brings you on this roller coaster of, do you believe what you have faith in? Are you being manipulated? Or are you not? Is it all real? What's true? What's not true? I thought they did a really good job of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. All right. So far, Tawny agrees with me. No, just kidding.
Yeah. So far, no. I think we're probably going to agree on most of how we felt about it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add, because I feel like you were about to ask me what are some things that I had issues with. But
yeah,
before we get there, I do want to say that one of the things that I did like in the beginning is that the convert, Sister Barnes, was the one who ended up knowing a lot more about the Mormon religion. And you could tell that she had like really done her research, because I think she said her mother had converted, and so she converted with her. And so you're expecting her as the character to be the one without faith, or and you see early on in the movie a little scar on her arm because she's got the implant. No, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the birth control.
The birth control implant thing in the arm. So you see early on that she has that, and so you're kind of expecting her to be the one that doesn't believe or has less faith in a way in the Mormon religion, but she ends up being the one who seems like she knows more about it. So I thought that was a really interesting take, and I liked that.
I didn't even think about that.
Now, should I start my complaints?
I can say I was a little distracted in the beginning because all I wanted to do was explore that library. I wanted to explore everything that he had. I was like, if this was a real place, as long as I wasn't his prisoner, I would love to just like, maybe this is now the crime. He's been arrested or dead, and I could go in and just kind of look at everything.
Around.
Even down in those dungeons when she was making her way through all those doors and you're going through all those different rooms with different artifacts and stuff.
Yeah.
So cool.
That was one of those moments where I was like, oh, are they going to get me back in here? Because this is creepy and I like it. Like, yeah. I agree. And I feel like the architecture of the house was really interesting and cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about what you don't like.
Okay. I I'm going to go kind of linearly. But the first thing that I was like, oh, I don't know about this is when they go down into the like basement dungeon thing and the woman comes out and she's all scary looking. Like it felt a little bit over the top to me in an otherwise like pretty grounded movie in the way that we're just dealing with these human characters and they're just like it's just regular tension. But now we're in this room where he's claiming that this person is a god or has been not a god, but has been resurrected by some god. I don't know. It just was like a little bit too much. I was like, I don't like where this is going. And then she's like eating disgusting pie. I was just like, okay, what? I don't know. This is taking a turn for me.
Okay. Yes, I agree with this. When she came down, that's one thing I was like, ooh, who is this his wife? Or
yeah,
like,
I thought that too.
Yeah, what is this person? And I thought like when she would move and she's like crack, 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 and all of that sort of like very typical creepy old cracky person. You know what I mean? Like popping and cracking. I was like, well, what is this like? She's like a demon or something now. I also felt this is off here. And then I guess he just has these women just in case someone comes and he needs to try to pretend that she's going to rise from the dead. Like, what is he doing? How many people come to his house that he's able to snatch in there? And like, what? I agree. And another piece that threw me a little was when she resurrects and we find out later that the one woman, that woman actually died. Another woman came, brought her down that hatch, and then replaced her so that he was trying to convince the girls. And I get the idea of, is religion or not religion? Are people using religion as their means trying to manipulate us by, sleight of hand or smoke and mirrors, right? And we're believing it as being a miracle or what have you. And it's really not. It's just a trick. But the one thing about it is those women were very unhealthy. And how strong were they really that this one other woman was going to come, hoist that dead woman, it's a dead weight body, and put her down the hatch. And also that hatch, if you remember, when she discovered the hatch, Sister Paxton, I believe, it was covered in sand. She had to scrape the sand off of it. So the woman threw the body down there, came back up, replaced the sand, set everything up, all of that while she was up at the door for that very small amount of time?
Yeah, it was a really quick, I feel like, exchange, because this is when Topher Grace comes to the door, right? Mm-hmm. And is talking to him for a second.
And they're trying to get the matches. The matches. So they didn't hear any of that movement and rustling. Yeah. The lady was able to do all of that.
Yeah. Not buying it.
No, me neither.
Not buying it. And I don't know. I feel like this whole part of the plot, I don't dislike the message of the movie. Like you're saying, I like the idea of there's this, like people are using religion to manipulate people and it's all about control. I don't hate that message, but I just feel like it didn't quite hit, I think, the way that it was supposed to. Because in the end of the movie, I'm left feeling like, ultimately, I agree with this guy on that point. But like this, he obviously took it ridiculously far. And also, if you lock people in your house, you really are taking away their control. They don't really have a choice to just continue. So like that was his point when he mentions all the women in the cages later when they find them. He's like, they're, I take care. What did he say? It's been a few weeks since I've seen it now. So
yeah,
you'll have to excuse me if I don't remember exactly, but he says something to the effect of like, all of these women here choose to stay here or something. It was like something like they believe. Yeah, you're shaking your head no. Do you remember? It was something like this.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was shaking my head like they're not choosing to say you have abused them enough that
Right.
they will come out and they will perform these tasks for you. But to me, it seemed like when Sister, is it Paxton or Barnes? Sister Paxton is down in that dungeon area, the women were like looking, to me, they were looking at her like with help me or hope or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he insinuated in some way that they've
chosen the true religion.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird. But I just was like, I don't feel like this guy did what, I don't know. It was weird. I was like, he took it obviously too far. And maybe that's the point of the movie. That like, you know, it's okay to have your religion. Because I did like at the end how she's doing the prayer and she's like, she acknowledges that there was a study done about prayer and it didn't do anything. But it's like, it's just a nice thing to do for other people. And I like that take on it. You know, like I'm not a religious person, but if other people want to be religious, as long as it's not hurting other people in any way, like I have come around in my life to the point where I'm like, I get it. That's cool. And I am happy for people who want to do that. I'm not like actively trying to talk people out of being religiously affiliated, you know? I don't know.
Yes. So I'm so glad I feel the same way. But I actually, I was disappointed in the control piece.
Yeah. It didn't like get there.
No, I thought, I was waiting for, I obviously knew they were going to say this is the true religion, but I was hoping for this thing that was going to make me go, oh shit. Like it was going to make me at least think. Everyone talks about this control piece. That's it. So all the different aspects he was talking about. And so I do think that it was definitely well written, but all these different little pieces of, that is attacked typically when it comes to religion. Miracles, are miracles real? So they try to talk about that, or your faith, or all the stories that he opens with the Monopoly games. All of these different stories, and all of these different religions that are talking about, when he was talking about the Egyptians and all the different religions that came before Jesus arrived, that all have the same story of the Jesus story. My very first day of graduate school, my very first class, the teacher opened with that and said, "Who am I talking about?" And people were like, "Jesus." And he's like, "No, Ra, the sun god of Egypt." So this is very curious. And these are all things that people bring up often. But I feel like control is equally in that bucket, if that makes sense. It was nothing earth-shattering or mind-blowing or wow, what a take at the end, which is what I was waiting for because it was building up so much. All of these little pieces, let me gather my thoughts. All of these little pieces are used to attack religion, but I think the one thing that people who don't like religion always refer to is the violence and control. That is the biggest piece. Look at all the wars, look at the violence, look at the greed, look at the control. Religion was made to control. My humblest opinion, and obviously nobody truly knows, religion was not, religion itself, I don't think was made to control. If you think of the 10 commandments, that thou shalt not bear false witness, shouldn't commit adultery, shouldn't steal, shouldn't kill. If we all lived by this, let's say we just all lived by this, it'd be a pretty damn nice society. Peaceful and loving and happy, right? So if there was God and God gave us religion, whatever it is, it's the people that have corrupted it and have perverted it. And you can think of that with anything. think about when democracy, when the government was started in America, right? And to protect people's rights and a lot of good things about creating a democracy. And then the people that come into power, they warp it and they corrupt it and they distort it. So it's people. People are the fucking problem. But this religion as control, people, yes. People that are not following their religion very well because they're doing all of this shit that they're not supposed to do are corrupting religion. And so that's just my piece on religion. So when it came down to the one true religion is control, I'm like, nope, that's just I was just thinking it's just not such a cool, solid argument. I really wanted my mind to be blown. That's just another argument amongst many others that I hope I expressed myself well. I just didn't find it to be very powerful or thought-provoking.
Yeah, it was pretty anticlimactic, because you are sort of like, there is a lot of buildup and a lot put in there, and then you get to that point and you're like, control. And I was sort of like, yeah, I get it. I think this is one of the elements that could have been pulled out and made into a movie by itself, and I think it would have been better for it. I think if the whole situation had been, he kidnaps people in his house basically and like converts them in a way by making them do something that they otherwise wouldn't do because they now believe something because he orchestrated it to be that way, or they did something that was not something they ever would have thought they would have done. Because that's kind of what I thought when she killed him at the end. I was like, oh, this is interesting because now she's done something that maybe she would have never, by the time when she walked into this house, she would have never thought that that's something that she would ever do. But now she has. And like, I think that's a cool movie. Like, he is sort of converting people, but he's not keeping them captive. And it would be interesting to see that. And I think that's less horror and more just like drama of how do I, this person who is converting people and then sending them back out into the world. And then their lives and their world is changed because they realize this control aspect. I think that by itself is a cool idea and could have been a better like consolidated movie.
Oh, yeah, I like that. So maybe through his manipulation and control, so that could mimic that. So I wrote this thing. Where did I write it? I said, so religion is either a beautiful thing that people have perverted. That's typically my stance. But I also know that I don't know everything. It also could have been made up to control people. So maybe like Moses was like, all of these people I helped escape Egypt. They are trying my patience. I'm going to go up to the hill. I'm going to craft out some tablets. I'm going to come down and say, God told me. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Totally right. We weren't there. So, all right. And so it was made up to control the people, or they're just stories that have been passed down that people took seriously, like War of the Worlds when it first came out, or L. Ron Hubbard. There's like lots of options for sure. I think that what you're saying, that's a really cool idea. So if this testing the faith is a really cool idea. So let me tell you this really quick, because I thought this was a really nice way he put it. Robert Ebert, I read his review on this in his article.
That's not him, but on his website.
Oh, sorry. Yes. On his website. Sorry. Yes.
He did.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. But he's maybe they're channeling him.
Maybe.
So this is all right. So I really liked this aspect of the movie as a study of the terrifying nature of belief and the dichotomy of believing in a higher power versus not believing in one. So the true horror of Heretic doesn't come through violent action as much as what Reed's elaborate plans say about the human condition. Why do we believe what we believe? Is it just because we've been told to do so? Is there something beyond the many books that Reed claims to have read? Heretic is a horror movie about some of the most soul-rattling ideas in history, including not just that there's nothing after death, but that everything we built our lives on has been a lie. And yet it's not a film that's that's as anti-religious as that sounds. It leaves some of its biggest questions for you to answer if you're courageous enough to do so.
Yeah.
I thought I really liked that. I think that is what's scary. And if we brought that testing of the faith, maybe that's what it is. Sorry, guys. So I'm coming full circle. Maybe that's what it is these typical things that he seems to be so, like, well, what about this? And how about this is a miracle? Ooh, it's really not a miracle. Maybe miracles aren't real. Okay. So let's go to Sister Barnes. When she was killed, but then she resurrected, right? We don't know did she resurrect? I happen to think that she just happened to survive.
Yeah.
And I have seen enough true crime there's been someone who's been shot once and they die. There's been someone who's been shot like 13, 14 times and somehow they survive. Is that a miracle? Or they just survived? I don't know. It's a miracle they survived.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Right. We don't know. I happen to think she probably just survived. But how about she was able to have enough strength in that moment after bleeding out for the fucking long ass time to kill the guy before he killed her? That's pretty miraculous. But like, there's just, you know what I mean? It's just, I got all excited about that. Don't even know where I was going.
Tell me if you think this is wrong, because I feel like this is what you were building up to.
Okay.
Like, yeah. It again, the testing of the faith would have been so cool if it was something just very interesting or thought-provoking, rather than these very run-of-the-mill questions.
Yes. Thank you. Just run-of-the-mill. Control, this, that. I love your idea. You have these two girls that are very into their faith, and maybe they're pushing back with him with other things. And then maybe one of them, he can't break and he kills them or something happens. And one of them, he does break, but it's left that it was just a manipulation. He doesn't know any more than they do. It's just his ideas now that he is shaping them to believe him, and they abandon their faith. I think that is so much more intriguing.
Yeah, I think that could have been a cool movie on its own. Now, I'm trying to figure out where to go that makes the most sense. Maybe from here, a next good thing to talk about then is the ending. How did you feel about the end, and what was your read on it?
Okay, so she stabs him. I liked that. Wait, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I'm trying to bring myself back to Sister Barnes woke up and hit him with a nail thingamajigger, right? And that's how she then is able to get out. She finds a way out.
Yeah, but before that, I think she stabs him because he says their code word, which was it special underwear, and she stabs him.
Magic underwear, and she stabs him, and I was like, woo! And then she runs. Then he stabs her. She's laying on the ground. She prays for him. Mm-hmm. Or she prays for them. And I thought that was beautiful as well. What she says a prayer doing something for others, right? Yeah. That was really beautiful. I loved that. And then, because that brought forward that people like, oh, prayer doesn't work. There's nothing magical about prayer. Why would you pray if there's no God? But I thought she brought a realistic reason to why. So I love that. And then she gets out and she drops to her knees in the snow, and there is a butterfly, right?
Yep. And it lands on her hand.
It lands on her hand.
And then it's gone. It was there, and then it shows her again, and it's gone. And so I don't know. I mean, again, that maybe the movie is just trying to leave it up to you for interpretation, but it is sort of is that supposed to be her friend? Because she says earlier in the movie, when I die, I want to come back as a butterfly, and I'd land on the people close to me as hand. And so it happens, but it's is she hallucinating that? Or no, or is it a thing from God to be like the afterlife is real? I don't know. I don't know. And this is one of the things that I would love to rewatch for, because I'm kind of, I was left feeling really unsure of what the ending was trying to do.
So I think you're right. Everything you just said. I think it was leaving you to ponder if maybe the afterlife is real, miracles are real, or are they? We don't really know. I absolutely agree. When I was watching it and I saw the butterfly, I liked that in the sense of it leaves you wondering, because at first you just have this, no, it's all control. But then she leaves and there's still that he doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
None of us really fucking know, right?
Yeah.
We can only make our best guess and walk our path. And so I got the feeling that she still was fully intact with her faith and her beliefs. They carried her through. And I saw it as that maybe there is an afterlife, but still maybe not.
Yeah.
Like, right, it's just a butterfly. But what threw me was when it snapped out of it like it was a dream and it wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
That piece I didn't like. Like, I would have liked it if there was a butterfly, because there's butterflies. Maybe, well, it wouldn't be there, though, actually, because it's snowy winter.
Yeah.
I liked the idea of the butterfly because even say there was a butterfly, there could just be a butterfly, or it could be her friend.
It could be, it could be a total coincidence.
Friend, right?
I mean, not in this case, because it is winter and probably not, but yeah.
I didn't like how it snapped out, though, like she was in a dream.
Yeah. Because it is sort of like, are you trying to tell me that she held on to her faith and that she still believes, and that's the point of the thing, or not? What are we trying to say here? I feel like it was pretty wishy-washy in its own ending.
Yeah. And you don't have to tell me with the butterfly you don't have to tell me with anything that she held on to her faith, because it's pretty obvious. Like, I don't need to know that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I feel like it was a weird end, because I feel like when they show her, she looks kind of distraught. Like, I feel like it's like I feel like it's a not great ending.
Yeah.
For her.
Oh, I see.
Mentally. I mean, she obviously survives, so that's amazing. Hopefully she can get to someone.
It would, I mean, just imagine, though. Your friend is dead. You thought you were going to die. This guy is like, every minute you thought you're going to die. There's women locked in cages downstairs. Like,
yeah.
I wonder what would have been. I definitely liked seeing her get out. Maybe she should just drop to her knees and just, I don't know.
Yeah.
What would have been a good ending? I did like that she got out.
Yeah, I feel like just knowing that she got out of the house is enough, because I feel like we got our final situation with the interaction between the two right before he dies and she wakes up. I feel like that's just where to end it, like we want to see her get out, like smashing the window and crawling out, but I feel like that for me would have been a much better ending, I think.
Yeah, maybe even just running into the street and we see a car approaching and then she falls to her knees and done. That's it. We know that someone has come for her. We know all the other stuff that's going to happen. Those women are going to get released. They're going to find all the stuff. And
yeah.
And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to look through those libraries.
and then I'm going to go peruse.
Yes, exactly.
That library.
I did like the idea that, because I didn't even catch it, he said everything in the very beginning, again, real strong beginning. He said everything out. They're talking and stuff, talking about the pie. They can smell the pie. I didn't even think about the candle at first when he had it lit. And then they kept talking about the pie. And for a minute I went, fuck, is that a blueberry candle? And I liked how everything, really didn't hide anything from them.
Yeah.
Like he had it all laid out in front of them.
Yeah.
They weren't trusting their intuition. And Steve had said to me, like, I don't buy that they would have went into his house. I'm like, are you kidding? 1,000,000% I think they would have. He seemed to me, he was like, hey, oh yeah, my wife is inside. If you don't mind it. He was so like, and they're like, oh yeah, sure. He goes, oh, go get her. Come on out. It was pouring rain. They went in. He did a little thing. They were locked in. Done.
Yeah.
I think it was very believable.
I do too. Because I mean, I think that there are two girls who want to believe that everybody's good, you know, too. I think that's part of it. And, you know, he didn't seem like a threat, really.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, on one hand, I feel like they were really smart. Once they really started trying to get out, they did some really smart things, but it definitely took way too long. I was like, there would be a moment when way before this moment where I would be panicked and trying to get out and do, I don't know. I just wouldn't be this like calm and quiet about this at this point, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they want to, well, there's been books written about it where how predators manipulate us. And I know I've talked about it before, but they know very strategically how to manipulate us to make us feel guilty about feeling nervous around them, or to discount what we feel in our gut.
Yeah.
And make us feel bad about it. But yeah, that was, oh God, that was so tense. That was really good. I believed why they went in there, and yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I wanted to share this. So the LDS Church, I have a couple of trivia things that I just thought they were cool. I didn't know where to put them, but the LDS Church response. So their response to the movie. In response to the release of the film, the LDS Church released a statement condemning its portrayal of violence against women. It's a horror movie, but I get
okay.
it.
Yeah.
4 days before the film's November 8th release, the church posted an article on missionary safety to its newsroom website intended to assist journalists and the public with questions and concerns regarding the safety and well-being of missionaries. I think that was pretty smart proactively too. Okay, this is going to make everybody start being worried. I didn't know, and this could be my ignorance, well, obviously is my ignorance. I didn't know that girls were missionaries.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that either, because I've only ever seen like,
yeah. And I have
men?
some Mormon friends, and it's always like their sons
Yeah.
go on missions. Oh, it says young women are welcome to serve as missionaries. I wonder if it's like they don't have to, but they're welcome to. But for boys, men and boys, it's highly, highly recommended.
Yeah,
I never, because Steve even said that to me. He's like, girls can't be missionaries, can they? And I'm like, I have no idea. But anyway.
I've never seen one. But
yeah, a number of Mormons and ex-Mormons praised the film for its realistic and nuanced portrayal of Mormons.
That's good. Yeah, I do. I feel the same way, that it wasn't really like poking fun at Mormonism at the end of the day, you know? Like, it was just a realistic portrayal of them.
Also, Hugh Grant once stated in an interview, "I'm getting bored of playing obvious roles and being typecasted." So writer-directors Scott Beck and Bryan Wood saw this interview and wrote the role of Mr. Reed with Hugh as their top choice for the role.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like he did a really great job, and it's awesome to see him in these other types of roles, because I feel like he's nailing it. He did such an amazing job of being like a charismatic but unpredictable and scary, and also somehow like put you at ease person. It was great. It was a really great performance.
Yes, Hugh Grant, if you listen to this episode and you've made it this far,
10 out of 10.
Please, 10 out of 10, please do more horror movies. We'd love to see you.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
So good.
The last bit of trivia I have is the writing of the film was prompted by the death of Woods' father to esophageal cancer. Esophageal cancer. And the questions the event prompted when, I'm sorry, guys, wow. And the questions the event prompted about what happens after death. I feel like that sentence was written
weird.
Yes, it was a tongue twister. So that's what prompted the writing of this.
Interesting.
Dark mind, I like it.
Yeah.
Dark mind. I liked the belief and disbelief doors and this energy between the two girls of, do you answer how he wants you to answer, but do you know how he wants you to answer? Does he want you to say, you're right, I don't believe, I'm wrong? Or does he want you not to be a hypocrite and prove and stand up for what you believe? If you're saying you believe this, you're coming to my house to convince me I should be Mormon. Let's see.
Right. Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, I have no idea what door to choose. And I get why they were like choosing the different doors.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I feel like this whole setup is so good.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what he wants from you, but you are just trying to, in some ways, you're just trying to do whatever it is that he wants so that you can survive, right? Which again, I think I don't know. I think it kind of undercuts the control narrative and angle of this movie. It's not really control. It's manipulation. Which is a little bit different. They can obviously go together. They're not mutually exclusive, but yeah, what he's doing is manipulative. It's not showing, control.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I had already said it, but I just saw my note. I was like, religion is control. I don't think it's a foolproof conclusion. Control is powerful, and unfortunately, with the establishment of everything, people are set into powerful positions, are often become wrapped up in power, greed, control, and it warps the purity of whatever that original thing was.
Yeah, totally. I will say that what I wanted this movie to be, and another version of this movie that I think would have been better, and I was really stoked at the beginning, I really did think that he had uncovered some kind of root religion that came before all the other ones that was somehow fucking sinister and crazy. And like, that's the movie I thought we were about to be watching. And I would watch the shit out of that movie. That's what I want. I love that plot. I love the idea of this like ancient, dark thing that he had stumbled on. So when she goes down into like the depths of the house and starts going through the doors, and they're sort of decorated like the iterative religions that he was talking about earlier. We like get down to like a pentagram, and I was just like, yes, maybe this is the movie. Like it made me feel that way again. I was like, maybe we're doing it. And then it was like, oh no, still no. That's not it. But that's what I wanted to watch. And so I was like kind of disappointed that it didn't go that way. And I just think that would have been cool.
I much would have preferred that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You hit the nail. They should have consulted with you. That is so good.
I mean, but it's a different movie. It's an entirely different plot and message. And so again, I'm like, I don't like hate this movie, but I feel like there's 3 different threads of a movie that'd be better movies by themselves.
Yeah, like I think you could have everything all the way up to them going down the doors.
Yeah.
Right? Because if this is a true religion that he's found, so he's trying to shake them in their religion so that he can present this other religion to them. If they are disbelieving and shaky in their beliefs, then they are going to be more open or susceptible to his new ideas that he has to give them.
Yeah.
So that would have been so cool. So we could have done the whole thing, and then once there's the dungeon situation, that all needs to be rewritten. I love that. I love that.
I love too that the house, like I thought the house was going to work into that somehow because the house is so fucking intricate and crazy and geometric and the architecture is weird and he has like the model of the house. And I just thought like when we started going down into the basement, I was like, oh shit, there's going to be something that this house was built on that is related to this, you know, like root religion or whatever. But no, in the end, it just is this very intricate designed house for this guy to kidnap people. Like, I don't know. It just, I feel like it kind of loses its steam, but I was disappointed.
Yeah, that's really good. I thought the same thing when I saw the model of the house. I was like, oh, we're going to be in these different rooms and we're going to be like, I saw someone say it reminds them of the movie. Oh, it was whoever wrote the Robert Ebert article, whoever channeled it, the Saw and Silence. So Silence was a Scorsese movie, and then Saw, that whole Saw idea of the different rooms, the different things to encounter.
Yeah,
but
totally.
That was not the case.
That was not it. And then something else that came up when we were talking, I think maybe Jade had mentioned it, and I was thinking this too. There's a third movie, right? I feel like there's like the Control movie. There's the I Actually Found a Root Religion movie. And then there's the iteration movie. And I think like that could be really interesting because I think Jade had said he expected when she gets down to the hatch again, that it's actually a different part of the house. It looks the same, but it's different. This reminded me a lot of As Above, So Below, which I feel like there was kind of, you know, some similarities in a way. And I was excited for that too. I was like, yes, to bring me down through the circles of hell in this house. Like maybe this house is, you know, Dante's Inferno somehow, and we have to go deeper and deeper to get to the root of the religion. And I don't know what the ending there would be, but I think you could do something really interesting there. But nope, not that either. It just was, we're back in the same room. So I don't know.
Yeah, I felt like, because there was one other thing that I liked, where how he was doing the whole Monopoly thing, and then he had the wall of pictures and all of this sort of thing. And it was Sister Barnes who, I scrolled up to look. Sister Barnes, who said to him something along the lines, I also saw this a week or so ago, something along the lines of, yeah, but you totally, like everything you said, there's elements of truth, but you also missed like Islam and like their take on Jesus, or like all these different things that you didn't pick up. And I like that because it's so on either side of the coin. People use whatever parts support their narrative. And this is all topics and all sides do it, right? So I'm just saying, so he had this narrative that wasn't fully fleshed out. And he was just kind of, I don't know, maybe I didn't like that either. I loved the Monopoly thing. And I loved this whole, I was all wrapped up into it. But it's almost like he didn't need that whole room of books. He could have just watched some TikToks. I don't know. It just, this is like a common things that all people know and all people say. Like it would have been cooler to have something deeper.
Yeah.
Like if he truly was trying to figure out, like if he was, and I mean, would be way too long in a movie, but if he's trying to say like, this is an iteration of this, and I mean, portions of this is true. So these are different iterations, different things happen and all of that, but he's leaving out really important details. It seems like he would address that and that would get him deeper to truth. Like if you see something that's a discrepancy in your hypotheses, then you start digging in there even more. But it seemed like he just was trying to prove that control. He didn't really dive too deep. He just tried to prove that control was the thing. Yeah. Where in your take of the movie, where he actually, by digging and looking at all these different discrepancies and really honing in his hypotheses, he dug so deep that he actually found what he believes is the true religion. And maybe it's something super sinister. And maybe it's something with a really hot guy in like a stag hat with horns, like from Wrong Turn.
Wow, that was a callback. That was, I was like, where
is she going? Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that would be something, huh?
I mean, I don't know if that would have worked.
A hedonistic.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked. It's got to be something really dark. It's something that just rocks Sister Paxton, like,
yeah,
makes her question everything.
Totally.
That's what I wanted. I got cold chills when I said that, because that's what I wanted.
Yeah, like I would have loved to actually see that person resurrected and say or do something crazy, or so, I don't know, like something way beyond belief. Like that would have been cool. I didn't like the portrayal of her because it was like over the top scary, but then I was okay with it because it was fake. Like, yeah, I was like, this is stupid a little bit. Like you've kind of pushed this too far. But then when I found out that it was fake and he was kind of putting on a thing, I was like, okay with it because of that. So I think if they had done that in a little bit of a better way, but that was the movie we were making, I think that would have been dope. But you know, that's just me.
Has these women in cages and he's watering them. I was literally like, Steve, what's with the mist? Did I miss something? Like he's just making it misty down there with these women in cages. And he goes, I think it's to make them uncomfortable. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that it would be terribly uncomfortable. It's just it was weird. Yeah. It was so weird. All this time and build up to get to this moment. And you are sort of like, what? You know? Yeah. Do you maybe let them out and like lift weights and stuff? Because like, how did one of those women in those tiny cages that can't move around lift a dead body and put it down the... Anyways, I already talked about that. Sorry, guys. Not happening. I'm just saying. I don't know.
One last thing that I want to complain about is that I didn't really love when Sister Barnes gets killed. Well, when she gets killed, I was shocked because I did not expect that to happen. I was like, I feel like that was a good point in the movie. I didn't obviously want to see her die because I really liked her as a character and I wanted them to get out together, but it was just so shocking. I couldn't believe that they did that. Me too. To me as a viewer, I was very shocked. So it's not that I kind of liked that part, but then when she dies, Sister Paxton becomes the questioner of him and is suddenly the one who's like Nancy Drew in it over here, fucking. Oh, we walked away from the body for like 20 seconds, so I think some other woman came out and moved. Like, I don't even know why you would come to that conclusion. There's no clues about it. I don't know. Like this part comes out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense with her character to me, and it feels totally unearned. And so this also way through me. And then it's kind of like that for the rest of the movie. She's a totally different character in the way that she's challenging him on things, and Sister Barnes was that for us, and then she died. So like I don't really like that just gets transferred over to Sister Paxton. And I know she told her to do that. She was like, Sister Barnes is like, we need to challenge him intellectually because we can't fight him physically, which I don't know. That also was like, I don't get it, but sure. Yeah, because I agree with you, because if you are who you are, not that you can't grow and learn and be different, but she's under a terrifying, extremely stressful situation. And now she has to start thinking super strategically and logically, like came really natural for Sister Barnes. Plus she was super knowledgeable. Yeah. And just like, I absolutely agree. I got really lost in this piece because when he went and cut open her arm. Oh God, I'm so glad you reminded me of this. Yeah. He cut open Sister Barnes's arm and pulled that thing out. And I thought that it was birth control. Like I didn't. And then he goes, yep, here it is. She's a cyborg. I thought, oh, fuck. What? Yeah. She's a cyborg? What is happening? Like,
I literally thought this is where the movie was going. And I was like, wait a second, this is really weird. But then all of a sudden she goes, no, I think that's birth control. And I'm like, oh, yeah, so did I. And then he's like, yeah, but would you think she would do that? Because, you know, she's Mormon and, well, no, she's not supposed to, but different people. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? What's happening? So is he trying to make her think she's a cyborg? That's when I first started thinking, okay, he doesn't know what the true one religion is, or he doesn't have a true religion. He's just like throwing all of these things at her. Yeah, it was so bizarre. And then when she started to go into, I think that a woman came and they switched bodies, and I'm like, what? Why on earth would you think that in this room? She goes, I don't know how you did it, but I think you switched the bodies. And I'm like, I don't think I would. Okay. And then she moves the thing and finds the trapdoor, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. I also was like, what in the, like you would never, under this amount of stress and anxiety, and you're basically just in a survival situation, like you'd never stop long enough to be like, I don't even give a shit actually at this point if you resurrected that woman. I don't care. I just need to get out in one piece. That's all I care about right now. So like I would not be able to stop and think through what he could have done. And there's also no clues, like other than she is moved a little bit. But so what? Like, yeah, maybe you misremembered. I don't know. And again, this was one of those moments where he starts getting into this like weird conspiracy thing where he's like, yeah, this is a microchip and everybody blah, blah, blah. He starts like drawing a crazy diagram on the table. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I was like, wait a minute. But then you find out that he is just sort of flailing because he like things didn't go to plan and he's trying to just improvise in some way. And I was like, okay, I guess. But what? Yeah, agreed. This whole section of the movie is very like, what is everybody talking about?
Yeah, why is he making up this cyborg story? If he is the true religion he believes is control, then what is he? What's this? What is he doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's trying to like get her back under his control or manipulate her in some way or something. And she was like, I think that's birth control. Yeah, so she was like, silly. Which it so clearly is. I don't know. It's just
yes.
So weird. Such a weird moment of the movie.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that too.
The cyborgs.
Yeah, it doesn't last for very long.
I was like, I guess it's just like it wanted to throw in another thing people say, that we're all in a matrix.
Yeah.
There's no God, there's no religion, we're all in a matrix. So he's throwing that theory in as well. But the only way to disprove that theory is because she had birth control in her arm. And how did he know, I wonder? Oh, he did research. He knew she had birth control. And I'm like, oh.
I don't know. I think he saw the cut.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I forgot that. She had a scar there. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You said something. There was one last thing that I didn't think about before you just said it. And I could be totally wrong, but you were talking about the prophet. And I was wondering because he specifically called her the prophet. And I know Mormons have prophets that are real life people today. And I'm not an expert, but they believe they have a lot of power. And you look to the prophet for guidance and to make the rules and stuff, I hope. Any Mormon people listening, you can absolutely correct me. But I know that there are prophets. I wondered if that was a specifically geared towards them because they were two Mormon girls. And he's saying, I have the new one true prophet. I have a new prophet. And I can prove it because of this miracle that she resurrects. So I have a prophet. And so they were going to follow him. So this is all just a way of trying to control them because they do have prophets in now times, in modern days, what I'm trying to say, versus, say Christians with Jesus, like this, the Mormons have prophets. So maybe he was like, well, I have the prophet. So maybe he has the answer if he is the prophet.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it is all kind of catered to them, but it does make me wonder then, what was the goal here? Like, what if they had never figured it out? Like, what would have happened then? Like, he just would have also kept them in a cage at that point? Like,
Oh, yeah, because I thought all the women that were in the cages were women who figured it out.
yeah. And so maybe they just never got out. Like, those are the women who just couldn't or didn't fight back and are trapped forever.
Yeah, like they got down there and that's why he calls them prophets, because they figured out they made it all the way down there and then he trapped them and
he's like, welcome to your cold, wet cage. They're like, I'm in. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have to watch it again to
figure
out.
She stood up against him, but he manipulated her enough to get her all the way down to exactly where he wanted her to be, which is there, seeing all of those women.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that was the only way to go.
Do you also think that he wanted her to stab him? Because I feel like that was the insinuation with him saying the code word.
Oh, no, I didn't think. I think she... Okay, that wasn't my take. I could be wrong, though. I don't think he knew about the code word, but he had said something right before that about the underwear, I think, about them being... What did he say? His line right before, and I think that was almost like a final girl moment, like a nod to how the plan was supposed to go with Sister Barnes. And so she had the thing and she was like, and what were they called? And he said magic underwear, and she killed him because that was the original plan. I thought it was like this kind of final girl moment.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember her being the one to provoke him to say it. I thought he just like said it out of context.
Yeah, I think she said what are they called? Or she said something like that about what are they called? Or,
okay.
What are you referring to? And he said the magic underwear.
She was all, wow,
Boom.
Stabbed him.
Yeah.
Which I love that part. That was
great.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, fight back.
Running through the house and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. I think that is everything I have.
Wanna rate me too. Let's do it. I'm so sad that Topher Grace's character didn't save them. I was really counting on him.
Yeah. Oh, when he came back, I was so excited.
Me too.
Then he gave a pamphlet. I was like,
me too.
No.
That was sad and sucked.
At first, I thought, oh, he's going to go out there and he's going to see the bikes.
The bike lock.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said to Steve, I was like, the bikes.
Yeah, me too.
But then there was no bikes.
No, but he fucking thought of that. Damn it. Yeah. But anyway.
Damn it.
Yes, let's rate it.
All right, Tawny. What do you rate this movie?
I think I'm going to go with a 3.6.
Okay.
Like I was looking at The Deliverance. I think you mentioned it when we were looking at our previous scores. And I felt somewhat similar about this, that I did that. Like there was a lot of good. And then the ending fucking shit the bed, basically. And I feel like this movie didn't do as bad of a job in the end, but it was kind of like the opposite. Like I feel like The Deliverance had such a long, great part, and then just right at the end, it sucked. Whereas this movie, right at the beginning, was really great, and then the rest of it kind of threw me. But I will say that I think the stuff that I liked better. So that's why I went just a little bit higher. I couldn't go to like 3.75 because I like those movies more. But 3.6 I feel like is a good end spot to be. What are you thinking?
I like it. I am thinking 3.9 because I was looking at some of my movies that were, it was really between 3.9 and a 4. And I was going back and forth. And there were some 4s where I was thinking, no, I don't know. And I might regret it, but I could always change it. But I feel like in my 3.9s, I have some that I really, really enjoyed too.
Yeah.
Like Possum is in there, and that was the last one I looked at. All the other ones I looked at flew out of my mind.
Okay.
But yeah, I think because the beginning was so phenomenal, this could have almost probably been 4.95 if they kept with that brilliance of the beginning and that level of acting and whatever. I don't know what else they could have done. Not that the acting took a tank. It didn't. They were phenomenal through, but it's just, yeah, I think they didn't figure out the murky middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's that, everybody.
Well, that's that. And by the time this episode airs, it will be like, what, mid-December?
Yeah. Is it going to be 11th? The 11th of December? Oh my gosh. Are we even going to do another episode?
Well, yeah, I think so. Because we could put one out on Christmas Day, which would be the last Wednesday of the month. And then, we could also always do our year in review, which is fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do that. And I will commit to, because I'm hanging around the holidays and I know you travel, to editing that episode and getting it launched on Christmas Day. Okay, cool. I totally forgot. Year in review. Okay.
So fun.
Okay, everybody, before we bail out, just remember, if you would like to pick up your Magic Mind, go to magicmind.com, chicks20, and use the code chicks20. So that's the URL, and use the code. You can get up to 48% off your first subscription for the next 10 days or 20% off a one-time purchase. Also, if you have seen Heretic, please do share your favorite scenes, quotes, or theories on our social media using the hashtag 2chicksinahorrorflick. And while you're there, please do give us a follow. And what else, Tawny?
You can support the show by giving us a like, review, and subscribe on whatever podcatcher you're listening to us on. That's it. So we will see you next time, and we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.